Hey guys, Crystal Thompson here for Unity Stamp Company. Today we have a really fun project. We're going to be doing double heat embossing using the With You I'm Home. This is the May Unity Sentiment, and we're going to be using this beautiful house in the Home Sweet Home. And I feel like it's just time to restock on our back to basics home. So we're going to need two pieces of cardstock. You're going to need a vellum cardstock and a white cardstock. You're going to cut these exactly the same width and length because we're going to place them on our Misty. And so I have the regular size Misty ready to go. You're going to need to remove that black pad when you're using your Unity stamp, so you have room in that. And then you're going to need, of course, some twine or ribbon. I'm going to be using this red. It just seems really homey. Then you're going to be needing some embossing ink along with white embossing powder and then an assortment of Copics. So let's get started. All right, so I have my Misty ready to go, and we're going to start with the vellum piece. And the reasoning why is that this is going to be the main piece, and I kind of want a little bit left out from the white cardstock. So we're going to begin with this guy here. So we're going to start with the little house, and I'm going to again leave enough room to where I can add my sentiment down here. And so just make sure that you get it nice and centered, and these grid lines on the Misty actually work really well for this purpose. And then make sure we get our letters in the right position. So Home Sweet Home, again, trying to center it under that house. Then I have these two cute little bushes, flower pots, whatever you want to call them. And we're going to place these on the edge of this little house because honestly, it's not home without some flowers. And we're just going to move that there to give it enough room. And so that's perfect. We're going to bring back our lid. We're going to press it down, and I feel like when you're card making you really do need to wear a long sleeve to press it down. So there we go. That's the magic trick. Now we're going to begin by heat embossing. So I have my embossing ink, and we're going to just ink the whole thing up, and we're going to heat emboss twice. So we're going to heat emboss this beautiful vellum, and then we're going to heat emboss the white cardstock below. So we are gonna just press down again, bring the handy sleeve down, down, down. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just gonna grab this and I'm gonna bring in my white embossing powder. And this is really, really handy. That's already in a container. So you're just gonna cover, I feel like I need to do that center part first and then get rid of that excess and then come back, do the next quarter of it, the next third, depending on how big your container is. And I feel like there's more static on vellum than you would have on, you know, your regular cardstock. So that's just the way it works, right? So okay, so we have that thing completely covered. You see you missed a spot, you come back and add more powder to it, and then we're going to clean any of the edges, and then we're going to heat set with our heat gun, and then we're going to, when this is all cooled off, we're going to come back and redo with the white cardstock. And again, we're going to use white embossing powder because it's going to have an invisible look to it, and it's going to look really cool. So we're just going to finish that up. And vellum, once it's hot, it kind of does transfer the heat to other places. So be sure to not leave your gun in one place because it will cook that heat embossing. And overcooked heat embossed, at least white, dust disappears. So there we go. I'm quite happy with that. As you can see, it's a little glossier. There we go. Can you see that? So really, really quite pleased with that. So I'm going to remove this here. We're going to remove our heat emboss, and we're going to come back to our cardstock. So with that being said, let me show you where this would land. Okay. So we're going to move this just a tad to the right. And my reasoning behind it is that if we move it just to the right a little bit, when we shift this over to the right, it's going to be centered. And it's going to give us a nice little mat going on here. Not too much, but it'll be just enough to give it a little difference. So I'm gonna press that down. We're going to ink this up, and then we're going to transfer back, hand the sleeve down, and come back. Give it a little massage. Treat your Unity stamps with love. Feel like I got it all over again. So perfect. We're gonna lift, and let's just get this out of the way, and then we can heat emboss again. And so the white cardstock is just a little bit more difficult to do some heat embossing because you can't quite bend it like you would the vellum, but we'll manage. You might just have to go in smaller quadrants of your heat embossing. Okay. And then we're going to heat emboss this again. All right, so I'm quite pleased with that. So now we're going to bring in our Copic colors and begin coloring our card. All right, so we're going to begin coloring our image, and I'm trying to think about what color selections I'm going to use. So really, I'm going to start with the color of my house. So I live in a log home, or in a wood-sided home that is actually wood. So I'm going to use brown. We're going to begin with our shadow, and because we are coloring on white heat emboss, it's going to resist a little bit of that Copic, but it's not very forgiving. So you got to really stay within those lines, especially adding these shadows. And then we'll move on to my next color, in this case being E43. And I'm just going to grab that color and bring it towards the interior of the siding of this house. And if you wanted to add a couple little lines and make it a brick home, that would be super cute. But we're not going to do that. So yes, we are going back to basics, restocking our cards, especially we have time during the holidays. It's just a good time to really restock on those. And it seems like people buy houses around Christmas, right? I haven't done it yet, so knock on wood, moving in the middle of Christmas, but hey, what a cool blessing. So what better than to create a handmade card for the new homeowners. So we're going to color this in. And it looks really odd, doesn't it, because of that white embossing. I feel like it doesn't quite it doesn't quite show it. So we're going to continue on the edge of this. All right, now we are going to do E13. E13 is going to serve for the upper part of the, what would you call this? The softening? I don't know what this is called. For the upper part of the house. I'm not going to be technical about this. And so, again, it's just another shade of brown. And as you can see, this one I'm doing a little more rough coloring. And as you can see, it resists that color. And so it's starting to take shape. And you can even bring that color down and add it as a third shade. So that's there. So we're going to put these guys away, and we're going to move on to the roof. And I'm going to go with a gray black roof. And again, super dark color, so you really want to stay within the lines, at least on the top of it. And I feel that by using darker colors, this is really going to pop. Okay, my little rocks down here are going to be gray as well. This is just kind of following along. My door is red. I've always wanted a red door, so we're going to have a red wreath here, and that's going to be the same color as my pots. flower pots. We'll make the other one blue. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna color in the glass with that blue. So you really don't need a ton of different colors, especially because this is gonna be overlaid with that other piece of vellum. And so, again, super easy, super basic coloring, just staying within the lines, not much blending going on here, because I feel like the blending would get lost in the vellum that we'll add. So, okay, and then I'm gonna add this dark, oops, wrong side of the marker. We're gonna add this gray roof over the little porch area. We need some green. We're gonna go with YG17. It's always a good green, considering it's called green grass. And we're just gonna add it down here. And our steps need a little color. And then we're gonna add, we are going to do blue shutters. Do a light blue shutter. So we're using B52, soft greenish blue. So if you can decide between a blue or a green, you can do that one. So we're gonna continue on, almost done. We're gonna kind of do a rough color of our flowers there. And that's really kind of like a bush looking thing. So I don't think it's really gonna pop much. The details on it are just incredible, so it just makes it a little harder to add some color in between. Okay, so that's our completely colored image. It's very happy, right? Kind of like a gnome house almost. We're gonna bring in this, and then we're gonna place it on top. So you see what I meant about moving it over to the right? It would really just give you enough space, and so you can come in and, you know, trim that edge if you like. So I'm quite happy with that. So you lift it. But this is just the top part of our card. So then this would go on to our card. This is a card panel, so we'll put it on our card base. So we're gonna grab our Tombow roller. We're gonna add this right on top, and again, just line it up. And I really love using that white embossing powder on the bottom because it looks like you did, you know, you actually technically did no line coloring. So we have that. Last but not least, we're gonna bring in our Hobby Lobby twine. And I felt like that red just kind of would really pop with what we got going on with the little house. And there's no real need either to really embellish the outer part of this card because it has so much color already. And so as you can see, by using dark colors in the bottom, that vellum really softened everything up, and I'm really pleased with it. So I'm gonna finish this bow up, and as I do that, I wanna thank you so much for joining me today with this video doing some coloring under vellum using one of the Unity stamp companies. This is called the I'm with you, I'm home. And guys, be sure to click subscribe so you get notifications about new videos. And if you really like the video, please do share. We appreciate all your sharing and support. Have an amazing day.